yourselves because I muted everybody. Sorry about that, trainers. I couldn't figure out where the noise was coming from, so I had to mute everybody. Kelly, you asked me for the link for the training. The link is on the Facebook page as well, and I will shoot that to you on your Facebook messenger as well, so they can click that link and they'll get the password. So after John and Randy and Lamar talks about SAFER, then we're gonna go into Ms. Catherine Pouliot, who will be talking to you from the point of view from the POV of a safety manager. And then after she goes over that information, we ask her some questions. Then Sherranda Ivey is going to come in and tie everything all together about how to use this information to cross-sell, sell small business plans to some of these owner-operators and small businesses that have less than 100 drivers or less than 100 employees. And then we're going to do a little bit of Q&A at the end if we still have some time left. But also put your questions in the chat, guys, because we'll be answering questions in the chat throughout this training as well. We may have a couple of people raise their hands at the end and ask some questions if we have some time left to do that. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Sherranda Ivey so she can get started with introductions, and she'll pass it over to the other trainers, and then we'll get going here. So Ms. Sherranda Ivey, the floor is yours. You gotta unmute yourself, by the way.
She may be on that other call, Robert.
I think she muted because I muted everybody she don't know. Hey, Sherranda, are you?
That's not in my hand.
And I don't see her either. So we'll go ahead and move. We'll go ahead and go to Miss Catherine. You can go ahead. That's the next young lady. So Catherine, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself, and then you can turn it over to John Hofman. And John, you can give it to Randy. Randy, you can give it to Lamar.
Okay, hi everybody, good evening. Thanks for joining us today. Cathy Pouliot, along with being a LegalShield representative or associate, I also for 42 years have been a safety.
Right now. I don't even have anything under the car.
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Hold on.
About that. I'll get that, Catherine. Yeah, somebody. People are unmuting. I'm trying to find them. So hold on. Okay, guys, I'm on mute all again. Trainers, just unmute yourself.
Okay, that's better. Thank you. Catherine Pouliot, actually, and I have been in transportation safety for over 42 years. I've been a safety director for a trucking company with 600 trucks, and now I have probably between 25 and 50 companies that I actually do their full safety programs for. Right now, I'm in the middle of a D.O.T. audit. So I know all about audits. I can answer your questions on regulations and stuff like that. I am also a LegalShield associate and market the CDL plan on a part-time basis. So that's where my expertise come from. If you have regulatory questions, that's where I come in. I live in Melbourne, Florida. I'm married with 2 kids and 3 grandkids. And I would like to introduce John Hofman.
All right, John, unmute yourself.
There we go. Okay, good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is John Hofman. I'm the CDLP certification trainer for California. I've been in LegalShield. This is my 14th year. Prior to that, I was in the truck tire business, and that's where I came across LegalShield, and I saw that the CDLP program was a much needed program out there because my customers couldn't pay for their tires because of their excessive tickets they were getting. So I wanted to find them something that I could offer them that was worthwhile. Was in the field today, and they had a really good enrollment. Maybe you saw it on the Facebook page that I posted, but it's a wonderful, exciting type of business to be in with LegalShield, and it's much needed. And I'm going to share some useful information that helps me out in the field. Okay, Randy?
Hey, thank you, John. Good evening, everyone, or afternoon, wherever you're at, like John said. I'm Randy Hooker. I have been with LegalShield since 2008. I am a $50,000 ring earner. I have done that through the transportation department or the commercial drivers division, selling the commercial drivers legal plan. And I am a field trainer for CDL and benefits, employee benefits. So if I can ever help anyone, well, take care of that. I've written personal apps over 1,000 and have that award and stuff. So I just enjoy really helping when I can, and hopefully some of the information I'll share this afternoon or tonight will be very helpful to you in finding trucking companies within a short distance of you that you can actually use what Lamar will tell you about them and actually start doing what I did, and that's making a carve out a space for you in this area. Lamar?
Hey, thank you, Mr. Randy. It's going to be exciting tonight. I'm honored to be part of this call, and I've been with LegalShield going on 15 years, and I've earned the 50,000 K ring and the 100,000 K ring selling transportation, ladies and gentlemen. So it can be done, and I've sold over 5,000 memberships, and tonight we're going to give you some great information of how to be successful. And so it's just a short little introduction. And Sherranda, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can introduce yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my name is Sherranda Ivey. I'm here out of the state of Georgia. I am the CDLP trainer for Georgia. Been a part of LegalShield now for 8 years. Been a field trainer on the solutions side, named #1 field trainer last year. We've written over 1,000 personal memberships, and with Business Solutions Sapphire. I just love working in this space. I find my niche market here, and just love getting up every day helping this commercial industry. So this information that you guys are going to learn tonight really changed my business. So I hope you guys really take notes and use the information shared to go out to help more commercial drivers. So back over to you, Dunbar.
All right, fantastic. Ms. Sherranda Ivey, we appreciate that. My name is Robert Dunbar. I've been with LegalShield over 11 years, been a trainer for over 6 years, been a CDLP trainer for over 2 years, guys. I work all aspects of the business. So I do the CDLP, the group. I'm a team builder. I'm a 100K ring earner. I've got 250K ring earners on my team. And we all kind of love to train you guys. And we love this space for all the reasons that we're going to talk about during this 2-hour training, guys. So we do know that Darnell Self is running a training from 9:30 to 10:30 Eastern time. So if anybody needs to jump off, just understand this is being recorded. We started the recording at 8 o'clock and it's going to run until 10 o'clock. So you'll be able to look at it on the YouTube channel whenever you get a chance to do that. And make sure when you go to that YouTube channel, you subscribe. So guys, exciting information. We don't want to hold off anymore. You got your introductions. You kind of got the agenda. So we're going to get moving forward right into the information. So I'm going to turn the floor over to our good friend, Randy Hooker, 50K ring earner out of Texas, so he can go over how to start prospecting in your own neighborhood. Randy Hooker, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Robert. I'm going to share my screen with y'all, and we're going to start from the beginning. So this is where you can start, guys. Of course, you go to your user and go into the URL. Normally, the reason this come up on my computer like this, guys, is because that I have it bookmarked on this page. But whenever it comes up, normally it's not going to come up with this page. So what you have to do is go down here in the bottom. Look at this. I'm going to highlight it. It's in blue. It says D.O.T. Trucking Company Directory. This is the first place that you'll go. Most of the time, like I say, it doesn't come up with this page. Whenever you click on this, it brings up all of the states. And it also right here in the very center of this page, guys, says search the D.O.T. Trucking Company Directory. Whenever you click on that, it takes you to the page that I have bookmarked. And this is the page that you want to bookmark once you get to this page. And the reason you can search by a DOT number, you can search by a company name, you can search by cities, you can search by state or zip code. If you have it all, you can put it all in there. You can search with a 50, 75, 100, 150 or 200 miles from what you put the information in here. Now, last week I had put on the chat section for anyone that wanted me to pull something in their area. While I was doing this, that I would do that to show how this works. It's very simple. We put 33711 in there is one of the ones from Miss Brown or Mr. Brown. Whenever we hit submit, it's going to pull up the trucking companies in that area. What this says here is 0 to 9. It's all of the companies that have a number in their name. Y'all see that? Okay. And it says this is one of 5 companies within this area. If you click on the A, once it updates, it's going to show. Computer's running a little slow tonight. It's got 50 of the 163 companies that start with A. And I've picked out 2 in this one in the B's that I'm going to show you. So we'll go to the B's. And the first one that I pulled up here was Ben Barstow. Where is it? Barstow Transportation. Barstow Transportation, Lakeland, Florida. And whenever you click on this, it tells you that they have 18 drivers, 18 trucks. It also gives you their D.O.T. number. And what is so cool about this site that I like so much is that once I find a company that I want to check out, I can just click their D.O.T. number where it's in blue. It takes me directly to the safer on that company, guys. This is absolutely neat. It also tells us some information down here, but of course we know, as Lamar says, go to the SMS results, but they have a lot of trouble with driver out of service. So therefore that may be something that you would want. You go to the complete, and then you have all of the stuff that Lamar is going to tell you about. Whenever you get done with that, you can X out of that safer report. It takes you back to this company. And then if you go up here and hit the back arrow, it takes you back to the B's. The next one that I pulled here was Best. Out of this one was Best Line Oil Company. So we'll click on them. They're out of Tampa, Florida. Now remember, guys, I said we were within 50 miles of 33711. So all of these companies are going to be within that 50-mile radius of that zip code. This one has only 8 drivers. And then you can click here, of course, and into your safer. And see, they don't have anything. Now, why would you want to pull that company? They don't have any out of services. And so therefore you can find there's no out of services. This may not be a company that you would want to call on. There may not be any speeding tickets, anything in the violation summary, as Lamar will tell you about. So let's go back. We'll get out of that and we'll go back in here and back out to the B's. Then if I want to go back and put a different number in, I can simply back out of this, right back to the zip. Whenever I go in here, we're going to put a zip of 08861. This is Miss Cheryl's zip code. We're going to submit this one. Now then, if you'll notice here, I'm going to click on the A. We're going into the B's again on this one, but this one shows 50 companies of 58. So therefore down here, it'll have a second page right down here. There's 58 companies with numbers. If you click on A, you'll notice that this is only showing 50 of 892 companies within 50 miles of that zip code that start with the letter A. And we still got 25 more alphabet letters to go. So there's no telling how many companies you can research right here. Every one of these is on a page. There'll be about 25 to 50 to a page. And so we want to go to the B's again. couple of companies here I want to show, or what have you. And Lamar may talk on some of these companies, so y'all be listening up and paying attention. We're going with B&S Trucking of Jackson. B&S, where is it? B&S Trucking of Jackson. This one is located, of course, in Holly, New Jersey, Mount Holly, New Jersey. Once again, 23 trucks, 21 drivers. Guys, I'm pulling the smaller companies because these are the ones that y'all can get into quickly a lot of the time. If you'll notice, they've got some pretty staggering numbers here. 28.6 out of service on the national average, being 20.7, 10.8 on 5.1. Those 19 drivers have had 65 stops. They've been inspected 65 times. And of course, whenever you go in here, you're going to find the safer report for Lamar, and you'll see all the out of service down here. He can explain that to you and how to use it. Once again, you back out, you go back, and we're going to pick up the second company here is Barrow, B-A-R-R-O-U-S. I think it's on the second page because I wanted to show that you could use the second page here. B-A-R-R-O-U-S Trucking Company. This one has 12 drivers. We're going to go to the D.O.T. and into the safer. Once again, we're right at national averages here, but we're really bad on driver out of service. So once we get into that, we'll find a lot of hours of service and unsafe driving here. Mr. Lamar will tell you how to use that. So we got a couple of more DOTs here that a couple of more zips that I want to show you. And then I'm going to let Mr. Lamar show you how to use this stuff that we're doing. But this, guys, you can sit here right from your home, play with these DOT, with the zip code, your zip code, and do really well. 90002. This is Wilma. Wilma Haynes. Hope you're on, Wilma. Within 50 miles. Whenever we go in here, we're going to use the letter A. See, this is 43 companies and numbered, and we're going into A here. The one that I found here is A&P Trucking. A&P Trucking. This one's out in California. John's territory out there. 4 drivers. And whenever we go into the safer, it shows they don't have anything. Once again, one of the companies that you may not want to work with. That's the reason that you have to go through quite a few of these to find what you want to work with and where you want to work. And then the other one in here was in the E's. This one is got a little bit more out of service stuff that I wanted to show. E&A Trucking Incorporated. They've got 13 drivers. And into their safer, of course, you'll find 26.2 out of service. Guys, when I pulled them the other day, it was more than that. I mean, less than that. So they've already got a little bit more from when I pulled them. 18 drivers have had 70 inspections. Once again, you can go down here and you can see all of the stuff that Lamar is going to show you how to use, what it's for, why do we do that. And the last one that I'm going to go ahead and pull is one in Georgia, let's back out of here and I'll get the right number here. You can do this by cities. So if you don't want to drive to one particular city, you can do it by that. Or you can do it by different states. Once again, if you want to cover the whole state. This one was Miss Veronica, and I saw her on there whenever she come on, Miss Veronica Tall. So this particular one was in the M's. If you'll notice, see, there's not as many trucking companies close to this particular zip code, so we don't have as many letters stretched out across here. But it shows that this particular M through R has, this is only showing 50 on this page of 115. And the company that we want to pull here, and I think Lamar was going to talk on this one, was Mike Thornton's company. Where's my M-I-K-E, Thornton Trucking. Shows 15 drivers. Smaller company with SMS results, but we have 38.5 out of service on the trucks, 41 inspections of 15 drivers. And the one thing that I think Lamar was going to maybe show on this one is this one, guys, all the way at the bottom does have a fatality in it. I think he was going to maybe show that. So Lamar, I'll back out of here, stop sharing, you share, and go over this stuff for them and tell them how it works.
Okay, Mr. Randy, thank you.
Hey, Lamar,
John
we're gonna
Hofman.
get John, got to get John in there first.
Yeah, John Hofman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm muting myself. Okay, so once you get that great information, you know, that Raymond shared with you, what do you do with it? You have to go to the next step and find out who you want to talk to. And of course, if you've been in LegalShield for any period of time, you know, on the training we've taken, they always talk about Reference USA. Well, I found Reference USA over the years not to be very inclusive in the transportation industry. You don't find a lot of information that you can use. Sometimes you don't find any of the information. And a lot of it is old also too. I've kind of more than one time I walked to a business and asked for the owner and found out he had passed away a dozen years ago. So don't embarrass yourself by that happening. Try and do some more research and double check your sources to make sure that you are talking to the right person. I found a website that I use quite a bit. They even have a paid version of it, but there's a free version of it. It's called BuzzFile, BuzzFile.com. It's more inclusive, more friendly to transportation companies. We can find the name of an owner. You'll also find if there's other businesses at the same address, because a lot of times you'll find in the trucking business, you're going to find a transportation company and a warehouse company with the same owner at the same location. So that'll mean, you know, two business plans, not alone just the CDLP plans and the one owner. They also have a nice map feature on there that labels surrounding businesses around it. So you can look on the map feature and expand it. And trucking companies are easy to find on that map feature because trailers have a definite footprint on the earth. There's big rectangular, you know, items you see on the map where you can tell it's definitely a trucking company. And you can click on that and see which trucking company that is. So it'll give you an idea of who's around that trucking company too. So you can kind of like, instead of walk your community, like some of the trainers talk about, you can do a web search on that and kind of browse your community and find other trucking companies that you can research. Go back to truckdriver.com and research that company and incorporate it all. Another thing I like with BuzzFile too is you can cut and paste for that also too. On Reference USA, if you've ever had to transfer information to make me like an Excel spreadsheet, or another form you might have, Reference USA doesn't allow you to do that. With BuzzFile, you can cut and paste information like phone numbers, names of owners, addresses, and you'll be able to do that. Then they also have a search on there for similar businesses. And an example I'll give with you, I was field training with another associate, and he was looking into offering the gun owner supplement to some companies, and he wanted to find similar companies. Well, in Reference USA, when you did that search for similar businesses, it brought up all kinds of sporting goods stores. on this buzz file program that I'm using, this buzz file website, it actually brought up gun shops, gun associations, in particular, anything related to a gun, not sporting goods stores like, what are large ones that Dick's Sporting Goods or some of these other large, even Walmart, sells guns too. But we don't want to call on those people. We want to look for, for someone that is, a good reference for our business. You can also find the officers, the owners, the ethnicity of those people also too. You can also find out email addresses and cell phone numbers. That's for the pay site. You can opt for that. I pay about $48 a month for my feature on that, but I use it quite heavily. And if you're going to be in this business, full time, like a lot of associates are, you want to get as much information as you can, when you search on it, because when you're out there in the field, and I do go out in the field, to go knock on doors. I don't do a lot of phone calling. I'll research a company using, Raymond's sources and the FMCSA site. And by the way, I would say on that FMCSA site, if they don't have a lot of history on them, they might not have been in business for very long. That's a 2-year history that you'll see on that. So they don't have any inspections yet. Just means they haven't been caught yet. So we can go back to them and say, you're brand new in this business. Let's keep your safety score pristine like it is now. Let's give you a way to keep it pristine. So that's the feature that I use for augmenting my search capabilities on it. It'll also sniff out a DBA name for you too, because sometimes you'll come up with the name of a company instead of a D.O.T number. You'll put it in the search box in this buzz file, and it'll actually pull up the name of the company, not just the DBA name. And it'll be able to do that, whereas Reference USA doesn't allow you to do that as well. It's very limited as far as that goes. So I just wanted to share that search feature that I use to help me sort and determine who I want to call on and go out and go and knock on their door. Okay, so now we can go to Lamar, I believe, right?
Thank you, Mr. John, and thank you, Mr. Randy Hooker. And now, once you've identified your suspect, might say, it's a suspect, we're going to turn it into a prospect. And so when you hear me say, I hope you're taking notes, you should be taking notes. So I'm preparing you for your decision maker call. So I'm just going to do a screen share, and I'm gonna pull up my decision maker script. And so this is the script that is in the Facebook page over there for commercial drivers. You should have this, and you should be familiar with this, because this is your opening comment that you're going to make to your decision maker. Okay, so that is one. You need to have that. Okay, number two, you should have the good news of our program. And this is in the back office there at LegalShield. You can download this, and this should be on your transportation clipboard, because when we adjudicate a ticket, let me just say, this is a federal legislation as of August the 23rd, 2014. And so when we take a ticket and adjudicate it, and as you can see here, if it's dismissed or found not guilty, the violation is removed. If the conviction of a different charge, it is reduced to a power of 1. So we're going to be seeing some of that this evening. So you're going to need that, and you're going to need to go into the Facebook and find the transportation clipboard, because this should be on your transportation clipboard if you're making notes, and also your order of dismissal. That should be on your transportation clipboard, and the calculation of how the CSA points are calculated for the company and for the driver. So those 4 documents you must have on your transportation clipboard. Now, with what I'm about to show you, you're ready to make your prospect call on this decision maker. So let's close that out, and we're going to go right into the safer. Okay. Now, Miss Cheryl Shrevers is the lucky one this evening. Randy has already pulled this up and showed you, but I have chose one of her groups. So Miss Cheryl, just make sure you make some good notes here as we go through, because this is how you can really get everything together to make that prospect call. So this is for the BNS trucking. And so on this page, you can see the name of the company, you can see their phone number, you can see their DOT number, and you see right over here, it says 19 drivers. Now, this is the type of company, if you're just starting off, you need to be calling on companies with 10, 15, 20 drivers to start off with. And this gives you all the information. You see, they do interstate, they do general freight. So this is going to be a drive-in company that we're looking at. And the first tip-off that things are not good is right here at the out of service. Their out of service ratio to the national average, they're at 28.6, and the national average is 20.71. And for the driver, the out of service at this company is 10.8, and the national average is 5.22. So this is a 1-2 punch right there. You know something is not quite right with this company. And so, as Randy indicated earlier, you just go back up here to the SMS results. So if you're making notes, that's the way you get in here. So please write that down. So you click that. And now we're into the safer back here. These are the 7 deadly sins right here. And right here is the out of service information I just went over with you on the DOT page, okay? And so you just scroll down over here on the side, right-hand side, you will see the complete SMS profile. Click on that. And now you're ready to view the details of this company. All right. And so right here, you'll see that this company has had 88 violations in the last 24 months. And so on this page, I'm going to identify some repeat violations that I would highlight. I would print this off and I would highlight these. So what I've done here, this improper lane change right here, they've had 3 of those, and this has a severity weight of 5. Okay, so that means the violation, if it hits in the first month, that's going to be 15 CSA points that's going to go against the driver and the company. All right, so that's a repeatable. So I would point this out to the company. And one of the areas that we really can help this company that I see, starting right here with the tickets, going 6 to 10 over, they've had 3 of those. 11 to 14, they've had 1 of those. And right here, 11 to 14 over, they've had 1. And then going 15 over the speed limit, they had 2 of those. And these type tickets in California, out there where John Hofman is, that's a misdemeanor, and that carries a weight of 10. So that's going to be 30 CSA points. So I would highlight this for that company. And I would just turn to that safety director and say, this is an area of speeding that we can really help the drivers and the company to adjudicate these tickets. Okay. And so on down the page, I found some other opportunities here. It has to do with brakes. So I came down here to the brake tubing. They've had 2 of those with 2 out of service. It carries a weight of 4. And here's another brake, 2 of those with an out of service. And here's another brake, brake hose, 2 of those. So this is an area of brakes for this company that we could really make a difference for. And then on down the page, you're going to see down here, almost at the bottom, let's see here, flat tires. So these tires right here, air leak. So you can see that's an out of service and it carries a weight of 8. This tire had fabric exposed. That is an 8. So those are 3 areas: brakes, tires, and speeding. So I've identified 3 areas that I want to really focus on with this company. Okay. And now, once I've identified those areas, Ms. Cheryl, I'm going down to the roadside inspections. And what I'm going to try to do is pick out about 3 that I want to talk about that's in the first 6 months. Now, if you'll notice, here is the date of the roadside inspection. And if you come all the way over, you see the time wait of 3. So in this case, now we're looking at this for the company. So this is the first 6 months. That 3 represents the first 6 months. On down the page, you'll see a 2. That recognizes the second 6 months. And then on down the page, we're going to look at, it's going to be a 1. That will represent the second year for the company. So I'm going to highlight this violation right here on 2/16. So in the first 6 months, I'm gonna pick out, I think it's 3 of those. Yep, I'm gonna pick out 3 of those. So right here are the violations. So this is an out of service. Anytime you see a red highlighted a violation, you'll see the OOS. That is out of service. The violation is 5. The out of service is 2. So that's 7. That's 8, and that's 9. And then times 3 is 27. That's 27 CSA points that just went on the driver's record and the company's record. You're talking to the company right now, the safety director or the owner, and that one right there is 27 points. So I'm coming on down the page, and lo and behold, looky here. This is this is a good one here to highlight. This is on 11/10/2020. And you can see this driver got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 violations. And so we're going to go through here and add all of this up and multiply it times 3. So you add all this up, it's going to be 33 points. I'll take my word. 3 and 4 is 7, and 3 is 10, and 5 is 15, and 20, 22, 24, and 6 is 30, and 3 is 33. Okay, so 33 times 3 is 99 points. Now, by federal legislation, they can only assess 90 points on a roadside inspection. So this driver maxed out. He went from 0 to 90 points in one roadside inspection. So at a lot of companies, I've got a lot of companies that would terminate this driver on this one roadside inspection. Okay, because the threshold for these companies on a drive-in company, I believe it's about, I believe it's 70 or 75 points is the threshold for the federal government. And so they went way over. So this is one. And I would turn to the safety director on this one and say, sir or ma'am, do you know if this ticket was adjudicated or not? And you're going to be looking at them. They're going to look like a deer in the headlights because they really don't know. And then I would make the statement, if you had my program and made it mandatory, you could have the confidence to know that we're doing everything possible to remove these points off of your driver and off of your company safety stats. That's what your customers can see and is what your insurance rates are based on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that goes back to my script, right? That's in the script. So you want to make sure that you learn that and put it in your own words. And we've had many people, I believe AJ, that's always on this call, he actually read it from the sheet of paper and opened a big company. And so we're going to come on down to 826, which is right here. And this is the other. So these are going to be the 3, because you can see it changes to the 2s here. So this is going to be my 3rd one. And this is 1 and 4 is 5. And that's 6 times 3. That's 18 points. So there's 3 violations of roadside inspections that I'm going to pick for this company for the first 6 months. All right. And then I'm going to go to the second 6 months. And I'm going to go down to, I believe it's 3-9 right here. And here is 2 violations is issued with out of service on both of those. And anytime you see an out of service, most of the time you can just pretty well count this is probably a citation. All right. Remember, it can be a violation warning or a violation citation. So you add these up. 4 and 2 is 6, and 4 is 10. Now this is 2, so that's going to be times 2. So 10 times 2 is 20 points. Now we're still in the second 6 months. All right. And so I come on down the page to 820. And I pick out this one. Well, actually, I just picked out one, I guess, in the second 6 months. This is in the, which is a 1, which is in the second year. And I add these up. That's going to be 23 CSA points times 1. And what I point out to the safety director, the owner of this company, now, if we were adjudicating this ticket for you in court with our transportation attorney, that would be multiplied times 3. So 23 times 3 would be 69 points. But now it's in the second year, okay? And it's only 23 points. That's why that we need to adjudicate that ticket. And most of the time you're going to court in the first month anyway, and do the data queue to remove the points when the points are the highest, which would have been 69 points for this company. And then you come on down to 725, and here's another big one. This is 23 points. That's going to be multiplied times 1, and so that's going to be 28 points. But if this was adjudicated in the first 6 months, that would have been 84 points assessed against the company. All right. And I would highlight that one. And so the last one I'm going to show you is on 7-1, which is this one right here. This is 26 points. You add all that up. That's 26 points for the CSA times 1. But in the first 6 months, that would have been 78. So this company missed some great opportunity to reverse points on them, and it's now in the second year. So, ladies and gentlemen, this little indicator over here, again, that's the first, that is the second year. That represents the second year. And when you get up here to the 2s, that's the second 6 months of the first year. And as you come on up to the 1 to the 3, that is the first 6 months of the first year. That's what that stands for, the 3, the 2, and the 1. So this is how you identify some bad roadside inspections. And I try to get at least 2 to 3 in the first 6 months, at least 2 or 3 in the second 6 months, and at least 2 to 3 in the second year. And then up here in the violations, if you remember, I highlighted, I think it was speeding and brakes and tires was the area that I could really help this company change their CSA score. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to back out of this, and we're going to take a look at another company because we only have a few minutes here. Time just really gets away from us when we're having a good time. And so This is how you do it. I'm gonna erase this DOT number, and I'm gonna put in another one, and it's gonna be 1501542. And the next lucky person is going to be Valerie Hampton. And we happen to select you to profile your company. And so this is JGM Transportation. It gives the address there in Georgia. It gives you DOT number. And here is 8 drivers. And I love to call on little companies like this because you can really go in there and learn in the little small companies. And a lot of times this owner, they probably don't even have a safety director. It's probably the owner. He's doing dispatch. He's the owner, dispatch, and safety. He's doing it all. And so this is the guy you're calling on, and he's got 8 drivers. And if you notice, it's very obvious they're doing some drive-in and they're doing some flatbed. So this one here is going to have probably some issues too. And sure enough, looking here on the vehicle, 42.9 out of service, and the national average, they're twice the out of service that the national average. And they're twice as much on the driver. So we have some things going on, and look here, we have a fatality. And Mr. Randy was talking about that earlier, and I'm going to show you when we go into the SMS how you can view that. So if everybody is with me, this is the way you pull it up. You put it after Randy and John help you find the company. Then you put the DOT number right here, enter it. And now you can see the name, the address, the phone number, and how many drivers. So here they got 8 drivers and they got 8 trucks. Now, if you had 8 drivers and 12 trucks, that would tell me they're really looking for drivers. Okay, they're recruiting. They're wanting to hire some drivers and put in those trucks. But they got 8 drivers and 8 trucks. So, they're fine. So we go to the SMS. If you're making notes, that's how you get in here. And now we're into the 7 deadly sins. You see them right there. You'll see the out of service ratios right here. And you scroll down over here on the right-hand side till you see the complete SMS profile. Click on that. And now in this little company with 8 drivers, we've had 78 violations. All right. And Miss Valerie, I have keyed in on these false reports. This is the logbook. They've had 4 with 4 out of services and the severity weight of 7. Okay. So the severity weight of 7 plus the 2 out of service is going to be 9 times 3 is 27 on that one false report. So they're having some issues here, and you see some other driver duty not current. They're having an LED there, ELD there, driving before beyond the 14 hours. And so they're having a good many logbook issues. So that's one area, Valerie, that I would really focus on in trying to sell this company. And then I would come on down and you're going to see brakes again. And so let's see if I can find that. That is going to be the clamp right here. They've had 7 brakes out of adjustment. Okay, so they're having an issue with brakes. There's one right above it with brakes, but this one right here is 7. So we're looking for violations that's repeating over and over. And this is a point we're making to this company that we can assist you and help your driver and the company in this area. Okay, and so right below that, this is the automatic air brake adjuster. They've had 6 of those. So this company is really struggling with brakes. So Valerie, I would make that notation. And then as you come on down, here is brakes again. Brakes out of service. They had 3 out of service. And I don't know why This one does not have a severity weight. I hadn't figured that out yet. But anyway, they're having some issues with the brakes. So those are the areas that I would turn to the safety director and say, these are the areas that I would really focus in with our CDLP membership, adjudicating tickets for your drivers and helping your company as we have success of dismissal, not guilty, or reduced to a lesser charge, that you can really help your company. And so now we come down and we start looking for the violations, and we don't have to go very far. It's the very first one. This is in January the 26th. And I add these up, and there's 13. 1 plus 1 plus 7 plus 4 is 13 times 3. That's in the first 6 months. So that's 39 CSA points right there. And as I come on down, I'm going to profile the next one on 1013. On 1013, we have 3 violations here. And you see this one in red, that's out of service. So there's 9 points right there. 9 plus 7 is 16, and 1 is 17. Times 3 is 51 points that just went on the driver's record and the company's. And when I'm doing presentations to a decision maker or to a driver, you know, I'm talking about it's very easy to go from 0 to 51. It's easy to go from 0 to 90. It's depending on what that officer wrote. And then as you come on down the page on 9-9, here is another bad one right here. And look at this. This is 3 violations and 3 out of service. And probably all 3 of these were citations. So 9 plus 6 plus 2, that is 17 times 3 is 51 points that just went on. So I picked out 3 roadside inspections in the first 6 months that I'm going to point out to that safety director. And probably on this one right here, I would turn to the safety director and say, again, I would say, do you know if this roadside inspection, this ticket was adjudicated in court? And he's going to have that glare at you like, what? I really don't know. If you had my program and made it mandatory, you could have the confidence to know that we're doing everything possible to keep these points off of your driver and off of your company safety stats. That's what your customers can view, and is what the insurance rates are based on. And you heard me say that on the previous one I had. And so now we're coming on down to the 2s. This indicates we're in the second 6 months, still in the first year. And we're looking at this. Let's see if I can find the, this was on 9-9. That's the one I just looked at. And I'm coming down to 8-11, which is this one. Okay. And so this is going to be one that I selected in the second 6 months. So 6 and 4 is 10, and 2 is 12, and 9, that's going to be 21, and times 2, that's going to be 42 CSA points. So that's going to be a bad one for this particular company. And then I'll have to come down but just a little ways, and there it is on July the 9th. There is 26 points here times 2. That's 52 points again. Now, if this was times 3, okay, that would be 72 points that would have went in their record in the first 6 months. So it's just so important that you point that out, that if you would have been in my program in the first year of these tickets, we could have really helped your company in reversing these points. And so I come on down to, we see it's changing to 1. Now here's a lot of violations. You could add that, you could pick that one. I happen to go down to, I believe it's 9.6. See 9.6, this one right here, and added it up. That's 17 points right there times 1. And so that's how you pick the bad violations in the categories of 3, 2, and 1. All right. And then in this particular company, if you remember, they had a fatality. Now I'm going to show you how you can view that. As you come on down the page, as you see the crashes here, and well, it doesn't have it there. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, there is the fatality right there. There's a 1. And so what you can do is click on this. That opens up, and that will tell you about that fatality. It's got the name of the company, 1 fatality, and they did tow the vehicle. There was 3 vehicles involved in that fatality. You see that right there? So there's a lot of lawsuits going on there. And it gives the time and location of that crash. And the weather conditions, no adverse conditions. And the citation issued is no. No citation was issued in this fatality. You know why? It was probably the driver of that truck that died, and they didn't issue a citation. But there it is. And it tells you there was no hazardous material. So this is how you look up a fatality and learn from that. So ladies and gentlemen, my time is getting very short. So this is how you profile companies and go into the safer. And as you back out, you can back out to the D.O.T. page. And as Mr. Randy and John was showing you, once you have the D.O.T. number, again, you put it in right here. And you can look up, just a few minutes I have left, you can look up these companies by the D.O.T. number, or you can click over here and put in the name. If you use the name, you got to have it exactly right. And sometimes the name requires the LLC at the end of the name, or the INC at the end of the name. So this is how you profile companies. I print this off. When you hit print, it's going to print 3 pages. This is a 3-page printout. The last page is more than less blank. That's where I make my notes on the 3rd page of this form. I will also Google the name of that company, and I will go into the internet and I'll pull up this company's name. And usually on the bigger companies, there will be a little safety tab. You can click on safety, and they usually have a photo of the safety director there, the name and the photo. And so if I love to make prospect calls just walking in. And so I will know the name of the safety director, and I'll have my transportation clipboard under my arm with all of those documents I told you about. And when I get to the gatekeeper, I'm asking to see the safety director. I'm asking, is Jim, the safety director, in today? I'm here to talk to him about the D.O.T. tickets and speaking to. Now, when I say that, that lady at that front desk probably thinks I'm the D.O.T. I didn't even introduce myself. Of course, I got a LegalShield shirt on. She can probably read that, but she don't know who I am. And I'm telling you, she will go fetch that safety director, and he's going to be standing in your face within about a minute. And you better say something very important to be invited back to the office and to the conference room. And guess what you're going to be saying? You're going to use the decision maker script. Okay? And I'm here to talk to you about the D.O.T. tickets and moving violations that your drivers are getting. And as you know, sir, if we have success in court, we can reverse the CSA points that go on your drivers. And as you know, sir, if it comes off of your driver, it comes off of your company safety stats. That's what your customers can view, and it's what your insurance rates are based on. Would you like to know more information of how our program can help your company? Yes, I would. Follow me. It's just, and I'm telling you, I've done that. I've opened over 100 trucking companies in Houston, and you can open trucking companies as well. It took me a long time to get that script written, a lot of sweat and tears and praying, but you've got the script and it works. So once you have the script, if you'll follow the directions what Mr. John Hofman and Randy Hooker gave you, and you identify the suspects, we can turn them into prospects by going into the D.O.T website, the SAFER, and profiling the violations and the roadside inspections. Ladies and gentlemen, I pray that you will use this information. And if you need to hear this over and over, Mr. Robert's going to make this available in Facebook where you can hear it over and over. But this is the way you do this. You make this as a favorite link in your computer. And I've had a favorite link on my phone, and we have changed the whole profiles of companies. I'm going to tell you a quick testimony, and then I'm going to turn it over to Robert, because at 10 after, I'm supposed to turn it over. So I had a transportation company in Houston, Victory Transportation, and Jill was a safety director there. And when I took that company over and opened it up, they had 3 safety alerts on their score. And I'm just going to take you over here to the SMS. Now, as a safety company, or as a company and a safety director, they can view a deeper view of what we're looking at. But these are the 7 areas. And a safety alert has got a line through that says alert. Okay, she had 3 of those. That means she had exceeded the threshold for the federal government. They brought our program in, LegalShield program, and Jill started data queuing all of the tickets that we adjudicated in court. And in 12 months, in 1 year, she had all of the alerts removed from that company. And what happened? Her insurance rate started to go down. So this is how, and Randy has got some great testimonials too of what he's doing for companies. But this is a powerful thing that you can go into companies, open them, and then produce it. And one of the things me and Randy was talking about this evening as we were preparing for this, you need to go into the SAFER and print this when you open an account and put that in your file. And then a year later or 2 years later, pull it back out, print another one, and compare. And that's how you can merchandise that information back to that company and that safety director, and also to other companies that you're trying to open, and you can tell them the good news of our program. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to stop because I could go another hour on this, but I had better stop, so I'm going to stop share and say it's been a great honor to be on this call here tonight. I hope I have changed some lives out there and have given you knowledge and wisdom of how to go about opening transportation accounts. I see John shaking it, John Cypress there. He's got it. He's got a smile on his face. He's ready. And many of you others out there, I'm just so proud on Monday night to hear the success that each of you are having. Be sure and let Robert know so that we can bring you up on a Monday night. So at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Cathy. So Cathy, she introduced herself earlier. I think she's a transportation consultant. She and I have been on these calls before, and she's been in transportation many years. So Cathy, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Excellent information. Thank you, Lamar. That was great. Yeah. I use that all the time. So, and I believe I'm going to be interviewed by Robert, but let me first start by saying the insurance issue is huge, and now the DOT audit issue is huge. you want to try to get into those companies before they have 3 triangles in intervention. And when he was talking about alerts, he was talking about intervention. What happens when those numbers get too high is the carrier gets into intervention. I am in the middle of an audit right now, and this carrier I've had for many years, and they're up and down and up and down, and that's their fault mostly, but they also pay half for the CDL plan. So we keep them to as minimum as we can, but he had 1 driver. It takes 1 driver. And this is a company that has 38 trucks and 60 drivers. They run back and forth to California, so they're team driving. 1 driver that they hired in September. And in those 5 months, he's had 3 tickets in the hours of service. He's had 2 tickets in the on the unsafe driving, and 2 accidents. It took their numbers from being good to all 3 in the triangle. And when it popped, let's see, it updated the first week of March. And we had the D.O.T. audit letter sent to us from the D.O.T. Let's see, this is dated the 19th of March. So where in the past, they were giving some time, like 6 months, to change their intervention numbers. And today, because of COVID, they're doing audits in-house, 5 to 10 a week, 5 to 10 companies a week, because they're doing them from home. So they are getting through them. And this is like the 2nd audit I've had where a company has been in the intervention just a matter of a couple months, and boom, the DOT's in there. I also noticed that, and that's a good point for them to know, that it only takes 1 driver. Doesn't matter how big the company is, for them to get a series of write-ups, and boom, you're in there. And the last audit that I had was in January, and this company, the same thing. But this is how fast it went. He got the tickets. He's got his LegalShield attorney. We fought the tickets. I had gone into data queue. I challenged them to get them off of there, and they got the letter from the DOT before it updated, because that SMS only updates once a month. Usually the first week of the month it does, but the Department of Transportation are right on top of this. The other is the insurance. If you want to talk to and get in front of that safety director, you need to talk insurance, and you need to talk the CSA points. You are going to run into, like Lamar says, you're going to run into those companies with 8 drivers, and that guy is wearing all the hats, and he may never even know what CSA is. I've got a new company that I got a couple months ago during COVID. They had no idea what I was talking about. So there's still a lot of companies out there that have nothing, know nothing. So you may not know everything about CSA, but with the information you're learning today, you're going to be able to take that and at least sound probably in some cases more than what the safety director knows. But you're going to have enough information to get in front of the safety director and be able to talk to them about keeping their insurance rates low. I have companies that have insurance rates all the way from $2,000 a truck a month to $20,000 a truck a month. And what makes a difference in those? And when I talk a month, that's a month. Is their CSA scores, because that's how they use it. He showed one company that has a lot of maintenance write-ups. That's a flatbed. That is notorious for flatbeds. And a lot of those flatbed companies pay a lot of money for overweight, for not for some of the stuff that you saw there. Now, all these aren't tickets. And I do data queue for a lot of companies. For all my companies, I do the data queue. One of the things, and you may not know what that is the ability for you or a safety director to be able to go in, once you have the court documents, to go in and challenge those write-ups. And you can do it online. You don't have to do it. You guys can't do it. The safety director needs to do it, but the safety director needs to know how to do it. And I've run into companies that have fought tickets and didn't get them data queued, because they didn't know. I've talked to several of you that have clients that have said, well, they didn't come off. They do not come off automatically. They come off the MVR automatically, which is the motor vehicle report, but they do not come off CSA unless you do the data queue. And the data queue is ultra important that that is done. I'm always available to answer questions on that. I think I'm actually going to be training somebody's client on how to do their own data queues. That's kind of what I do that too. I train people to help themselves. So, but those are the things. Now, Robert, you were going to ask me some questions. Robert?
I was letting you finish. So I was.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah.
You know?
Good. So good seeing you. Good talking to you the other day. Super excited. Always good to have you here. So one of the things I wanted to mention first was you just mentioned something about data queue. And what you mentioned about data queue was that is how the trucking companies get these things off of their record if a judge says that it can be reduced or dismissed. And what I've seen in the past is LegalShield associates like you and I try to get involved in data queue themselves, try to do it themselves, try to go in and help the company, calling themselves saving them money. Like, I think it's a bad idea. Lamar has brought it up and thought it was a bad idea. Randy has brought it up and thought it was a bad idea. So you as a third-party safety manager, what would you say to a LegalShield associate on this training that's saying, well, let me learn data queue so I can help my companies?
Okay, so what you'd want to do is get them with somebody. You could also hook them up with me where I could teach them how to do it because they know the ins and outs. There is 2 thick pages like this of regulations. And just because a driver got rolled up by an officer doesn't mean that the officer was correct. I mean, I not only fight the tickets are easy, but they got to know how to do that. They have to go in, they have to register, and they have to use the right terminology to get that off of there. There is a book under SMS, if you get off the company and go into information, that will actually teach them how to do data queue. But you're not the expert. You're the expert on, selling, marketing your CDL plan. And I'm here to tell you it's the best plan out there. I know that I used to recommend that my drivers get prepaid legal and LegalShield since the 1980s. But to actually do data queue, you can be fined up to $10,000 if you give them misinformation. So if you don't know what you're doing, you don't want to be doing those data queues for those companies because they're not going to come after you individually. Now, the company that gets the $10,000 fine will turn around and sue you because they thought you knew what you were doing, but you don't want to put your neck out for that. You can always contact me and I can always help those companies learn how to do it. Once they learn how to do it, and then if they ever have questions, because I fight not just the tickets, I also fight some of the ones that don't have tickets, because they're not always right. Sometimes I throw them against the wall to see if they stick, but I never lie. I always get the driver's point of view, and they always have to give me a statement to do that. So, and I'm waiting for a couple of them to come in right now, but I usually have a pretty good chance of getting them off. But I do know that some companies are not doing their data queue and they have LegalShield. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm used to talking to myself anyway. So great answer. We definitely appreciate that. And when you get a chance, whenever you get a chance, if you can go ahead and throw your number in the chat for us. And if you can go ahead and say it out loud real quick so people can contact you. And before you do that, just so you guys know, I always call Catherine whenever I have a company. Like Catherine is very helpful to me with my company. So if I have a company and the guy's calling me and he's saying, look, man, I think I'm about to go through an audit or I got these issues going on, I never play the expert. It's always like, hey, let me call Catherine. Now I put them with Catherine. Catherine is never going to steal your account. She's never going to try to sell LegalShield to him. She's not going to do any of that. She can make her money with her other business by managing that company. And if she keeps your business in business, then they stay on the books as one of your groups. So it's in your best interest to turn them over to Catherine and let her do what she does for them because she can help them with those different things. So I've done it in the past and it's never turned me turned out to be wrong. And thank you for putting that in the chat, Bob Frazier, because he says he's used it too. He agrees as well. Bob Frazier out in Florida. So go ahead and state your number real quick and put it in the chat so that people will be able to contact you.
Okay, it's Catherine Pouliot, and my phone number is 231 321-271-6280. That's, I'm going to put it in at 321-271-6280. That's my cell phone number. You can get me there anytime. I can also, oh, that was a direct message. I will do that. So do you have any other questions for me here, Robert?
Yes, I do. So
You do?
one, after an initial audit, how soon can they come back and do a second audit? So let's say you got a client that gets an audit, or somebody walks in or prospects them and they say, yeah, we got audited, last week or whatever. How quickly can they come back and do a second audit?
Okay, they can, it's depending on what it was. If it's a conditional rating or unsatisfactory rating, and that's when they turn ugly. Is if they're an unsatisfactory rating, they got 45 days or they're going to put a lock on their door. Okay, and so it's imperative that they get somebody right away to start looking at what they got wrote up for. How do we fix it? Let's put the systems in place to make sure that you can continue to operate. So then we do what's called administrative review. They don't come back in. If it's just conditional, I've got one company that had a conditional rating for 8 years when I walked in there. So I had to do administrative review. But when I get a company that just got audited and it didn't go well, it went south, I immediately start right away. What was the problem? I look at it. Let's get the solution. Do what they have to do, whether it's maintenance, whether it's their driving records, whether it's their logs. I start right away in, let's train these drivers to do it the right way so we can show within 30 days that you've made these improvements. Okay, so and it's a long, I sent a packet about like that to the D.O.T, to get these changed, to get the rating changed. So, and if I can do that they have 45 days before that rating shows up on their CSA or on their SMS. Once it's there, their shippers see it, which is their customers. Their insurance company sees that. And when they see that, their insurance can double and they can get canceled. I've had in January, I had 3 companies of mine and I have some companies that I only see twice a year. So that's the type of company. And all of a sudden they were in trouble and the insurance company was going to cancel them. So we had to put some systems in place and do some driver training to immediately reverse that, and how do I do that? Tell the drivers to go get clean inspections. Let's dilute the pool. Let's dilute and get good inspections, and that will bring the numbers down quickly. That's probably the fastest way that I can get them changed. And then if they have any tickets, you'd be surprised, how many drivers of yours had tickets in the last 6 months that maybe I can go in and data queue them and get those points down. So there's just a lot of systems I can put in place. I've been doing safety for 42, I keep saying 42 years, but I said that 3 years ago too. So I just say it, but anyway, so there's a lot that can be done right away. The sooner they get on it, the sooner they can stay in business. But and if there's an imminent danger, they'll put a lock on the door tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Shut them down. Yeah.
So next question. So as a third party safety manager, you're thinking as a safety manager,
Yes.
Because your job is to help protect the company from D.O.T and all the other lions and alligators and whoever else that's out there, all the other alphabets that's coming to get them, right? So,
Right.
So as a LegalShield associate, there's right now, I think over 100 people on the Zoom, and there's another 60 people on YouTube Live looking at this.
Mhm.
So you got 160 people. You got people that want to know what's going to turn you off and what's going to make you say, hey, no, I want you to come in. You're a safety manager. I'm coming in with my LegalShield pitch, Lamar Reynolds script. I sat on this call. I heard the script 3 times. I'm going to say it verbatim. I put your safety squad, did all the stuff that Randy and John and Lamar said to do. When that person comes in and talk to you from your POV, what is important for them to say and understand to get you to listen to them in your busy work day as a safety manager?
Keeping the CSA scores down so that insurance rates stay down, and you keep the Department of Transportation out of my office. that is probably the most important. And chances are, I mean, today, chances are the DOT audit's going to happen, but you're talking DOT fines start at between $8,000 and $20,000. So a small company, that's a lot of money. So my big thing is, let's keep your insurance down. And even with somebody, if you look at one of those reports and it's like, oh, it's not too bad, they're just not real high, you want to keep it that way. That's the whole point. Let's keep it that way so I can fight the tickets that my drivers get and keep my numbers down so that they don't go up. Because today, if they go up into the intervention, they're going to get audited. It's just, so those are and that's another thing. Use that right now. The Department of Transportation is coming in within 2 or 3 months of those numbers going high. So let's prevent that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Good. So I hope you guys are getting this. Hope you guys are taking notes. Remember, it's recorded too, so you guys know you got Lamar Script, you got all that stuff. But understand, this is an opportunity for you guys to hear. This is the Cathy is who you're talking to when you walk in to try to introduce these services. That's who's sitting on the other side of that desk, and they are pressured. They got all kind of different things going on. So let me ask you another question. As a person that works that position, what would be the best days and times, do you think, to walk in on a safety manager, if there's any good time that you would say?
Okay, not first thing in the morning, that's for sure, because the first couple hours they're putting fires out. All right. Usually the best days, and some of them can be specific to what they haul. Okay, but usually Wednesdays or Thursdays are usually pretty good days, and 10 o'clock in the morning usually works, because this time they've been able to answer their emails. They put out the fires that happened the night before, and they've probably looked at everything. So about 10:30, if a safety director goes to lunch, he's going to go to lunch late. He's not going to leave the office until 12:30 if he takes a lunch. Most of them eat at their desk, because they're wearing more hats than just safety. They're unless you're knocking on doors of 2,000 trucks, which don't waste your time, because the gatekeeper is going to keep you out of there. I mean, if you know somebody and you can work it and build a relationship, fine. But you want to focus on the smaller carriers that you can actually make a difference in, and those are 80% of the carriers out there. So you just have to get in there around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then if you're not going to do it until after lunch, do it after 2. But Wednesday and Thursday are your best day. Mondays are usually days from hell, and so are Fridays. So it just, and if you're hauling any produce, that Tuesday's a bad day for that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and some of it is, I have a company that hauls fish, and, sometimes their Wednesdays aren't so good, but usually those are your best days. And after 10 o'clock is a good time. But if you're there at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to see anybody. They're going to give you time they're going to be busy. I don't even go into my clients until after 9.
Can any of the trainers still hear me? Gotcha. Okay, you had froze up on me. I didn't know whether it was me or you. My screen froze, and I know whether it was your screen freezing or mine, so I wasn't sure. Okay, so did you mention something called the triangle? Oh,
yes, that's the intervention. The triangle it's an orange triangle that you will see when Lamar had the 7 deadly sins on those 7 deadly sins. Now, I can't see that in the public, and you can't see that, but I have obviously PIN numbers that I can get into my clients and see where they are. And they actually put an orange triangle like this on, and it shows that they're in intervention. When they get too many write-ups out on the road, they're given a measurement. Once the measurement is there, they put them into a safety group just like them. Most of the safety groups that you're going to look are going to be between 20 and 100 inspections. You saw one of his was at 65 inspections. So they put him into groups with the same type of companies that have that many inspections. And then they just rate them like a peer group. If you remember back when you were in school, if they graded you on a curve. That's what they do with these trucking companies. So the higher score you have, the higher above you are. And if you're an unsafe driving in hours of service, if you get up above 65%, you automatically go into that intervention from the Department of Transportation. They usually have a letter. Now, some of the carriers say, no, I didn't get a letter. Okay, maybe they didn't. And if you have 2 of them in intervention, you're going to see the DOT within 2 to 6 months. So, and if the third one pops, just like that happened with one of my companies, it popped, and within 2 weeks, they sent us the letter, that they were being audited. And these are offsite audits. It used to be you had a human factor. Oh, talk to the safety director. Oh, I know the DOT, they're going to be fine. Well, they're no longer doing face-to-face audits. They're doing off-site audits. You don't know that person. He's going by the rules strictly. You have no human factor at all in these audits, which takes away, you can, talk about their kids, whatever, get them talking about other things. And you don't have that ability to do that anymore. So, and they're so far ahead. A year ago, before COVID, they were 6 months to a year behind. Now they're all caught up, and they are slamming them as soon as those numbers get in intervention. So, and they send them a letter, and I asked the officer, because I talked to him, and I'm like, okay, how come you didn't give this carrier 6 months? Well, there's no rule that says I have to give you 6 months. Okay, that I agree with. There is no rule, but when you give us an interpretation of how long we're going to get to change our numbers. And when CSA first came out, they said, we're going to give you 6 months once you get an intervention letter. Well, that's been scrapped. That's just like the person who believes that there used to be a time when you get a ticket in your car, it didn't count on your CDL. That's been gone since 2001. So they can change their criteria at any time they want.
Absolutely. And to that, what you just said, just so everybody knows what you meant when you said that, any CDL driver that gets a ticket, even if they're in their personal vehicle, if they're in a motorcycle, if they're in a boat, it affects their CDL license. So just so you guys know that are listening, a CDL license holder, their license is affected no matter what kind of citation violation they get. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And the big one that I see is DUI. That's a big one I see is, and I have drivers, it's like this, Uber is pick up the phone and call Uber. Don't get in your car or your truck or your boat or anything. It's too easy to get a ride and too cheap. And I tell drivers, and I usually have 2 or 3 that, got to buck the system. And it doesn't matter. I've even had them in the truck, believe it or not, drunk. But, and that right there goes on that safety director, that safety CSA scores, and that don't come off. I had one that he fought, it got dismissed, and they still wouldn't take it off because it was a DUI. And I'm like, okay, so, but I will tell you this, LegalShield will fight those DUIs for him at a 25% discount.
Good stuff. Good to know, right? And look, you do the crime, you do the time, right?
That's right. The crime, do the time.
So on the here's a young lady, Valerie Hamilton, who had asked a question about she had went to a company, and the company said they had LegalShield already, and they said LegalShield wasn't helping them, and she don't know what to do next, and their numbers are going on a rise. And my suggestion on something like that is normally first find out whether or not they were data queuing, because we were just talking about that. Were they data queuing the results? Because what you'll find when you go out and talk to a lot of companies is they will have an attorney fight the ticket, LegalShield fight the ticket, whoever, they'll get the result, and they'll be so busy they won't data queue it, so it never comes off their record. So like, how important is that?
That's absolutely important. And I have run into other LegalShield associates that have asked me that question. How do they data queue? They've got to learn how to data queue. If it doesn't data queue, it will not come off. So that's the other thing. You have got to data, they've got to challenge it. And like I said, don't offer that service to them. Get somebody, you can call me. I will train your company guy, And they'll thank you for introducing me to show you how to do that, because I can also teach them how to get some stuff off that doesn't have tickets, you know, and how to do that doesn't associate with tickets. But important data queue is absolutely important. You saw some of Lamar's examples, and you should have saw where it said different charge down to 1 point. Okay, what you didn't see is the one that were dismissed, because those end up disappearing. You know, the charges end up disappearing, but you saw some of those. And if you see that when you're looking at somebody, then somebody's doing it. I helped another associate who they had time to do it at the beginning, but then they didn't have time to do it anymore, the trucking company, because they wear a lot of hats. Okay, so they didn't have time to do that at another company. So they had all these that they can do. And, you know, Randy mentioned that you've only got a certain amount of time, and you do, but I still try. I've never had one call timeout on me, and I've gone over a year. I've actually data queued stuff that's a year old. So even if it is, you think it's past the time, you still want a data queue. That's what's important. And you just need to know that it's available out there. You know, that it's got to be data queued. It just doesn't come off the record. And you can teach drivers, individual drivers, if you're selling to individual drivers, and some of you are, they can data queue their own, they can data queue their own stuff, and they need help, call me. You know, because some companies, you're going to run into companies that don't care. I'm going to tell you that right now. And you're not going to change their mind, and you're not going to, they think that the world is against them. But I'm telling you, I can, just like Lamar said, I've got company after company after company that I can show you that data queuing and fighting tickets works.
Okay, so what do you tell that associate that says that? So I get the associate that says, yeah, you know, because I get the calls as a field trainer. I went to this company and I told them all this stuff. I told them Lamar Script, and I said everything I heard on Monday night call, and they told me, no, they ain't worried about it. That's not no big deal. I'm not going. I don't need nothing like that. So
Bye.
as a safety manager, yeah, bye. There you go. There
Bye.
you go.
If they don't care, why should you? You know, you saw him. You saw how many companies were pulled up in one area, one zip code. There's 50. There was one that was over 200 companies. There's so many companies out there to choose from. You don't have to try to convince anybody that this is a good program. If you're trying to convince somebody, then you're going to have to keep selling them month after month after month after month. You know, they either see it and they understand, they want to stay in business. I mean, I have said that. Do you want to stay in business? Yes. They say yes. Okay, that's pretty much an open-ended question. Then you need this program to make sure that your numbers stay low, because they do shut people down. They do it every single day. And you can go to the Federal Motor Carrier website and look. You can look at, they post them there every single day.
Good stuff. So the DAC report we know is, and if you want to explain more, you can on the DAC report, but generally speaking, the DAC report is the
company.
Is the credit report. The credit report, basically a credit report for a CDL driver, not really a credit, but like how they're driving. You can explain, you know, as a safety manager, of course, obviously you can explain that better than me. But when we hear DAC report, we used to say, oh, look, you know, had that driver pull a DAC report so they can see what's going on. I had a conversation with you yesterday or the day before yesterday. You told me that that is no longer the most prevalent place that they're using to pull information, so that we're all up to date. A driver, you looking at your DAC report was normally something that I would suggest to different drivers. So you're saying they're using different systems now. So go ahead and let us know what they're doing now.
The DAC report, I'll tell you what it is first. It's companies that get into a contract with, it used to be SIS USA, but it's called the DAC report. And companies would pay money to be part of this group. And so when they had a driver leave for bad reasons or good reasons or whatever, they would put that information into what's called the DAC report. Okay, and so a company that was going to hire a driver would, but it couldn't be just any company. You have to pay for this report, and you have to have a monthly subscription to be able to use this DAC report. So they would put the driver's name in, and they would show his accidents, and they would show other information, whether he was a bad employee. I had a driver he left a truck over here 300 miles away, or in the middle of the country, or he left under load and stuff like that. It's a behavior. They would put behavior stuff in there, and not very many would put good stuff in. It would be mostly the bad stuff. So what's replaced that is the PSP, and that is actually your driver profile under CSA. When CSA came out, this is a more behavior. You can look at a driver's behavior that you're trying to hire. And this is a report that every driver has, and it's 3 years worth of what they've done out on the road. And it's a PSP report, which is the driver profile under CSA. And there you're going to see how many times he's been pulled over. You're going to see if he's had any D.O.T. reportable accidents, whether they were his fault or not. You're going to see if he had a fatality. You're going to see anything he got wrote up for in the last 3 years. So you're going to be able to look at that and go, oh, well, this driver, even though it's MVR, my motor vehicle report is clear, but I've got him being wrote up for lane violations, speeding, blah, 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 blah. That means his behavior is bad. Okay, so when you have your companies looking to see, how do I know I'm going to hire a good driver, their best bet is to do the PSP and pay $10 per driver, and that's all it is. And they can get that report on any driver. And it is only 3 years, but I'm the type that I have seen drivers who are really bad, educate them on CSA and what it does to their driver report and their employability, change their behavior completely. So if you've got a driver that's really, really bad and they haven't changed their behavior, they need to change their behavior or they're gone. This particular driver that is causing this audit, as soon as he fixes the crap he needs to fix, he's gone.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but prior to that, when you're trying to pick your drivers, that's the best report to find out in the last 3 years what he's really done. And I've actually had clients send me 9 pages of a driver's PSP report. I said, you're joking, right? He said, yeah, I really am. So, so when you're talking to drivers, that's how important it is for them to get that stuff and keep it off their PSP, because good reputable companies pull that on every driver before they hire them.
Gotcha. So Lamar, Randy, John, Sherranda, you guys got something for Cathy before we let her go?
Questions?
Kathy,
Yes.
on that PSP report, it does give their 5-year accident report too, doesn't it?
I think so. I think it does. The driver's is a little bit different than the carriers. So,
Well,
but yeah.
We were at the truck show and FMCSA gave us a paper that we hand out at our meeting that allows that driver to go to a website and they actually can pull their PSP for $10.
Yes.
If they sign up at that time for their email, if anything changes on that PSP report, they get an email monitored for free to tell them something has changed on it. Therefore, they can go and pull it again to see what changed.
That's great. That's, and I have a lot of drivers say, how can I do mine? Just go to the PSP website and you can pull your own for $10, because they don't remember what they had for dinner last night, let alone what they got rolled up 3 years ago for.
Right. And that is so helpful for the drivers. We've had a lot of them that really like it because that monitors if anything changes on their record, if they cause it or if they don't cause it, or if it gets entered wrong, like we had a driver got some stuff entered wrong on his number. And he was able to find out about that and get it corrected. Secondly, are you seeing that more of the companies that are like 20 drivers and under are more targeted on this offsite audit more directly than larger companies?
Yes. And I say yes because of the fact that it doesn't take very much for them to get into intervention. I mean, I had this one company that got an audit that, we didn't have enough time for him to get the tickets, fight them and get them data queued. They were already data queued before he got the letter from the DOT. and he's only got 6 drivers, you know, so he's like, and he didn't have that many, especially in the hours of service. With ELDs, they're not getting rode up on the road for 11-hour, 14-hour violations and 70-hour violations. So if you have a company that has just 3 of them, they're already an intervention. You know, so it really, I mean, they're supposed to be looking at it because it is targeting smaller companies more, you know, at least in my case with my companies, it's definitely affecting the smaller carriers more than the bigger ones. Because if I got, I don't know, 100 trucks, I'm getting a whole lot of inspections. But if I only have 10 inspections and half of them aren't any good, I'm already up in the intervention. And it only takes one bad driver to one problem child, you know, and drivers, they're not a dime a dozen. That's the other thing you can use. There is a shortage of truck drivers. In spite of what people might think, there is a shortage of good truck drivers. Let me put that in there. There are bottom feeders that are always around, but the good drivers, there's still a shortage. So yeah, and it pays them to keep their drivers and to help their drivers maintain their good record.
Hey, Cathy, this is Lamar.
Hi, Lamar.
You had mentioned, hey, it's good to have you on the call here tonight. The DAC report, of course, that used to be the thing of the day back before CSA.
Yep.
But I was really surprised. I had a driver just a few months ago that he was concerned about his DAC report. But I guess that's still active. The DAC report is still there.
Yep.
And so just so everybody on the call knows, a driver, and this particular driver disagreed with what was on his DAC report. So you can write, and this place is in Oklahoma, you can write the DAC report in writing, and they will give you what your DAC report says on your driver. And then you can protest what's in there in writing. So we've had drivers that they posted the information to the wrong driver, and actually the protest letter that the driver sent in got it removed. So that is another thing that sometimes, do you think that's really something important for drivers to write the DAC
Yes.
agency and ask for a copy? Do you have a record on me? And if so, send it to me.
Yeah, because that is, you know, I run into companies that get pissed off. Sorry, I'm going to just say the word pissed off at truck drivers. And, you know, I mean, and there is a law inside the regulations that allows drivers that if anybody reports anything bad, you have the right to get that information. You have the right to contradict or write something and say, no, this is not what happened. This is really what happened. So because of, so they have that right to that information. So yeah, if they left a company that possibly could still participate with DAC, I would recommend that they go get it. It's free. They might as well see what's there. But a lot of companies aren't. I know when I worked at in Michigan, the 600 truck company, we were part of DAC. You know, it was just part of our, you know, and then I had the one that did the reports, and I made sure that anything I reported, it was true. But there are a lot of unscrupulous people out there that I'm gonna fix him.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
one of the things I try to do as a salesman is figure out a silver bullet question to ask that safety director. And I want to run one past you that I found to be pretty good.
Okay.
And so here I am standing in front of the safety director, and I may ask a question like this. Have you noticed your insurance rates going up year over year from last year and the year before? Have you noticed your insurance rates going up?
That's a good one.
Actually,
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
Because right now there's nobody that's going to tell you no.
That's
Because
right.
they're all going up.
The example you used earlier, some of these companies are paying, I mean, $20,000, $50,000 a month for a driver to drive. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It is. It's
unbelievable.
it's crazy.
The last question I'd like to, or just a statement and get you to respond to it. And I've talked to a lot of my companies are starting to come back along online here in Texas now. And I did my first group presentation this past Friday, and I've got another one, Saturday, and I have another one scheduled for this weekend. But a lot of the safety directors are saying they're seeing the DOT being more aggressive this year, like they're trying to make up for the COVID last year. They didn't do as many roadside inspections. So are you seeing that just kind of overactive DOT out there? We're seeing a lot of moving violations that they're writing more than usual.
Yes, and there's an old saying that, money speaks, and they lost a lot of money in 2020. Your police jurisdictions, your DOT, everybody, because also for the first time, I'm seeing companies not get a satisfactory. They're getting a satisfactory rating, but they're also getting a fine. So, and a lot of drivers are being pulled over relentlessly because they need the money. It's as simple as that. I mean, if I don't always believe that the driver is always telling me the truth, but most of the time they are. But once in a while, they tend to fib. But if I have a driver that says, I was not going that fast, and one thing you can do is with the new equipment, you can tell your safety directors, pull the report from the engine and use that to challenge these ones that are just warnings. Yeah. I do that, but they're getting rode up right and left because they need the money, Lamar. It's as simple as fact as that. And I have a lot of drivers that were never getting pulled over, and now they are. I can't tell you how many people I signed up because I've never had a ticket in the last 20 years. So I just got a ticket. Seriously. It's like, well, you should have had it before. Now you're going to pay 25%. You're getting a discount.
A lot of drivers tell me, Cathy, I'm guilty of that. I was speeding, and should I really fight this ticket?
Oh yeah, I've had that too.
Yeah, and I've actually had drivers to tell me that, and I've said, absolutely, you should fight that. Do you agree with that? That every ticket is written, you should fight it?
Every single one of them. And I find that they forget that they can do the overweight tickets.
Yes.
And overweight tickets are expensive.
Yes. And so I guess a good statement is made. If you don't fight the ticket, you're guilty as charged. You're letting the police officer be the police officer, the judge, and the jury, so to speak. So the key is to really fight it, because a judge could see it differently than the police officer. Because the police officer out there on the beat, he's interpreting the law, I guess, to his own ability. He's interpreting the law. There's no sign that he's correct until it's adjudicated in court.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to
innocent before proven guilty. It's America. So in every single one of them, because I've had drivers tell me that too. Well, I was speeding. I don't care. You're going to fight it. We're going to get it. If nothing more, we'll get it reduced.
That's right.
And that's another thing. I have a lot of drivers that will say, well, I want it gone. I go, no, reduced is almost as good. Under CSA, reduced is almost as good, especially if they're not getting any points on their license.
Yes.
Because, I'm not going to get points, but they're going to reduce it to under 5. Okay, take it. Really? I go, yeah, take it.
Well, I tell drivers, usually we can do one of 3 things for you. Either get the ticket dismissed, we can get either the point struck or the fine reduced.
Yes.
And I always remember of a lady that got a speeding ticket going 15 over. And as the attorney walked into the court, he says, I'm telling you right now, I'm not dismissing this ticket. But what we did for her, we got the point struck out of the MVR and the fine reduced. And she was very happy to have that. And so everybody should really take note of that, because it's just not dismissals and not guilty. I mean, sometimes on the MVR, the points can be struck or the fine reduced. So sometimes we can do other things than just dismissing tickets.
That's right. Yeah, I've had a lot of them like that. Yep. But I've also had some totally dismissed. I mean,
that's right.
Speeding in a construction zone with a CDL that was expired. Boom, dismissed.
Cathy?
Yes.
Do you find that that if we have a citation, that I mean, they've got to get the adjudication to turn it into that acute. But whenever you have let me think about it a second. I lost my train of thought there just a second. Go
Is
ahead
it
with
a
Lamar
fine?
or John a second, and then I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Hey,
All right. I think
Cathy,
we're probably out of time. I'm out of
Yeah.
time. I think anybody has any other questions? That was great, Lamar. Thanks for asking the questions. They were good questions. And I'll
Yeah.
turn it back over to Robert.
Thank you, Catherine, so much for everything. As always, thank you for working with us every year and throughout the year, jumping on special trainers and helping us out here. We really appreciate your insight as a safety manager and all that you have to say. We answered as many questions as we can with you. So if you have anything else to add, you can stay on and do whatever. We're going to go ahead and call up Sherranda next. So last but not least, guys, we got my bestie, my good friend, and she is certainly always ready to bring the noise. So she's going to talk a little bit about integrating all these systems and kind of talk about, Sherranda is going to kind of end it by going over how to cross-sell with small business and talking about how all of these systems that we just talked about, how she's utilizing this stuff in the field with companies, working with truck drivers and trucking companies, and how she's been able to go from 0 to 100 basically by using all these tools and all these different things, and also selling small business plans. You guys just saw she was just hit again with the award for one of the top small business sellers. So without embarrassing her any more than I probably already have, I'm going to go ahead and call to the floor my good friend and our CDLP support, Miss Sherranda Ivey, trainer out of Georgia. Miss Sherranda Ivey.
Can you hear me, Dunbar?
I sure can. The floor is yours.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that, and great job, everybody. I just been kind of multitasking tonight on 2 different Zooms, but I was listening on some of it and looking at some of the questions. Thank you, Cathy. Just always bringing just information that we can take back to the field. That same information, guys. This is our 3rd year. That's why whoever talks to me, I always say, you need to go and look at the videos, because this is the information that we can take to the market and have conversations with. I talk about, I was looking at some of the questions. I know Lamar and Randy, Dunbar, John, Cathy gave some huge nuggets when it comes to the safety manager. But guys, y'all don't have to know all that, right? You just can't. But what Lamar talked about, and just some of the things that Cathy, just pick a few and think about how on a call, when you're making dials, some of the stuff Cathy's brought up. And think about all the stuff Lamar and Randy has trained, and John and Dunbar, and all the other associates that have shared with us. Think about that conversation and what Cathy just dropped tonight. So you don't have to be a master of everything. Like somebody asked, well, what do we do when it comes to maintenance? That's really not ideal, guys. The lawyers do that, right? The lawyers do the work. They figure that out. Your job is to show value to that owner or that driver to get the plan and let the lawyers do the work, okay? Because there's a lot of information was shared tonight. And if you go back and try to, I don't know, start to talk about all this, you are going to be so confused, right? So you got to just pick out a few things. And I will say that this training here, Lamar did this for me. Lamar, when it was about 3 years ago, Lamar did this training. He like a 5-minute training of that whole safer report that he just did for you guys. And he taught me how to just look at a few key things and what that meant to our business, to our plans, our CDL plan. And with that same information, guys, I say the same things today that he taught me those 5 minutes, right? So just think about it. Just bite off a little bit and use it and master that what you learn, because it won't change in this industry. Okay, it's happening to the drivers every day. But when it comes to cross-selling, I want you guys to, and I had this conversation with 3 people today, and every one of them brought in wheels. I get it, guys. We offer wheels. I get that. But I promise you that owner and that driver they're not trying to hear that the first time you talk to them. This is CDLP. They're trying to eat and keep their job and keep their business open. So what we do in this space, you have to lead with that. So, you know, Lamar Script is the script that most of us have had success on. You just have to bite it up, chop it up, and make it yours. That's it. It might not come out like he says it, he says it his way. Gilmore says it his way. AJ says it his way. Sharon says it her way. Everybody says it their way, but it's still Lamar Script. I promise you, we just twist it up and make it fit to the conversation you're having. So if you want to know what we're talking about, Lamar Script is underneath. It's in the file section. I think he updated it this year. But I've had so many people try to rattle that off. You can't rattle it off. Okay? Have a conversation and you'll be surprised how it flows with the conversation. But it's still Lamar Script. It's still gonna close the deal for you. I promise you. But you gotta make it your own. And so with me, with CDL, guys, you'll be surprised, even though we have a CDL plan, I lead with the small business plan. I really do. Because the owner is dealing with things out. He's dealing with violations and citations, but I have to show value to him, so he will allow me to share this and protect his drivers. So I personally lead with the small business plan, and it's not for the violations, it's not for the citations. So no, normally our state attorneys are not specialties in transportation, but these owners are dealing with they have business questions. They're dealing with factoring companies. They're dealing with lawsuits, whether it's with freight, it's with anything else besides the violations. They're dealing with this as well. They're in lawsuits all the time, and we have to know that. But we have to ask questions too. So I lead with the small business plan. My plan that I normally sell in this arena is the plus with the trial defense. I don't sell the $49 plan. And you ask why? Because it doesn't have the trial defense. And in this industry, these guys are being sued all the time. And it's not accidents. I used to think, and if you listen to some of the old trainings, I talked about accidents, but now I know that they're being sued or in lawsuits for more than just accidents. So I'm doing them a disservice if I just go in and try to sell them a $49 plan. And please, guys, just know that we can't go in and try to think about performance club points and things like that. Even though you get them now with the CDLP plan, you have to sell that plan still so it'll stay on the books now to go against your persistency. So you have to sell the plan right. But if you do, it'll stay on the books. These guys need to eat. Catherine just talked about all that. And that CDLP plan allows them to keep their job and allows their owner to keep his doors open. So knowing all that we heard tonight, we can bless these people with small business because, like I say, they're dealing with things outside of violations that our business plan would help them. And corporate has listened and heard us and made it interstate. Because it used to be they would have to pay 25% to talk to an attorney outside of the state that they were in with the business plan. Now it's across the board. That's huge. That's real. That's huge for a trucking company, especially when his drivers are over the road. Things are happening every day. So, just think about what we do. I mean, I can only imagine what Cathy said, because I'm gonna listen at the replay, but I know she done talked about it 1,000 times over. If you don't do anything, but you guys, we gotta learn the industry. They need us. And these plans that we have here, half of them never heard of such a plan. So now you gotta share the value that, oh, we've been around 48 years, guys. And if you're going to come into a TVC in the market because that's easy accessible at the truck stops. But don't focus on what TVC does. Learn how we can help with LegalShield and what they're going through, and just focus on that, because I promise you a lot of them with TVC have never used it or they don't know what it do. So just know that. So we have small biz, we have the CDL plan, we have the legal plan. And when the legal plan comes into place in this arena, you have to think about, in some states, if those guys don't pay child support, they lose their license. So that's a benefit you can talk about when you talk about our legal plan. Please don't lead with wheels. Don't do that. Because that's not important to them, guys. It really isn't. You lose them, right? They're like a wheel. What are you talking about? Like, that is not important to them right now. They're trying to eat. So just think about the things our legal plan can do for them if they're dealing with child support, garnishments. The home-based business supplement helps with, their taxes. A lot of truckers have tax problems, guys. And most of them are 1099s that we deal with. So just think about those things and then go cross-sell. And you may not be able to do it all in one sale, and it's okay. You still got a prospect that you can go back to and add benefits to. Service that customer, and he'll feed you, because he'll refer the world to you. So just keep that in mind. I'm not gonna hold you guys, because I can go on and on and on and tell you how to use this plan and how to let these people, just eat. I just can't stress that enough. That's what we do. We keep these people employable and insurable. So just know that, okay? So Dunbar, I'm not gonna keep going on because I could. So I'm gonna turn it back over to you. Be like the preacher, I'm gonna close like 10 times. So back over to you. Back over to you.
Yes. No, thank you so much. I appreciate you jumping in and giving your talk. Guys, this has been like remarkable. It's been 2 hours and 10 minutes that we've been on. And we have we still got 45 people on YouTube. We still got, 92 people on the Zoom. I mean, so thank you guys for staying with us for over 2 hours. I hope you guys really got a lot out of it. So when I go in and edit this video for YouTube, I'm going to timestamp it. So it should be timestamped where you guys can see where Randy stops, where John stops, where Lamar stops, where Cathy stops, and then when we finish, that way you can look at every section, however you're gonna look at it, instead of just following through the whole video over and over and over again to get certain information. So we're gonna look to do that with the editing. So Sherranda Ivey has a call on Thursdays, which is accountability call for CDLP. Just know before you get on there that it's a serious call, and she'll put you off if you're not producing. So just I want you to know that ahead of time so that you prepare, you discipline your disappointments. And every Monday we have this same Zoom that we're on right now, but we do it from 8:30 to 9:30. It's only an hour long, and it's typically selling and marketing and all the different things you need to know. This is just a special one that we do annually in March or April. For you guys that's going to the channel, if you missed any of our other ones, go to the YouTube channel. You can go to the playlist there, and there's all of the ones that we've done since September 7th of last year. If you go to the Facebook page and go to the announcement section and scroll down, you can see all the audios we shot for 2.5 years before September 7th. As a reminder, if you go to the YouTube channel, just like the people that are on live right now, if you're on the YouTube channel, please do us a favor, like the video, the videos that you watch, if you like them, and then also subscribe to the channel, because that gets YouTube to push the channel out to more people, which is important for us. So again, we thank you guys. I'm gonna leave it to the trainers if they want to have to say anything, going out as we close now. So if any of the trainers want to say anything upon us closing, I'm gonna go ahead and open it up to our trainers.
Robert, this is Lamar. I think it's been exciting tonight. This was a great time well spent listening to the presentations tonight. And I'm just trusting everybody will use that information, because a lot of it has been proven, and all you got to do, it's already been tested. Just take it and use it, and you will start to have success. So jump in the water and have fun. Back over to you, Robert.
Absolutely. Any other trainers?
Yeah, I'll say thanks for having me, Robert. I appreciate it as always. I am a LegalShield associate, but I have my other business too. And any of you can reach out to me. I give a lot of free advice to my associates. So, and also to your clients. And like he says, I've never ever, in fact, I try to push that they keep their program and they use their program. So thank you, everybody, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Cathy. Appreciate you. Any other trainers?
It was a pleasure, Robert. I hope everybody got a way to pull up some companies within their area and go use Lamar Script, and let's all go sell more CDL.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. John Hofman, where you at? Got anything for us, brother?
I'm here. It's past my bedtime.
And you're on the West Coast, it's past your bedtime.
That's right. I was up at 5:30 this morning doing the presentation. So, right. It's good training, though. I'm going to be in touch with Cathy. I want to fly her out to my next training in California.
All right. Good stuff. Yeah, she's wicked. She gets it done. Anything you want to say, Ms. Sharon Holiday? I know you've been in the background answering 1,000 questions and letting people win and all that great stuff. Sharon Holiday, you got anything?
Yeah, just definitely. When you see a truck driver, do tell him or her thank you, because everything that we have in our house, these electronics that we're on this platform for, they had to bring it. Rather by car, train, boat, it had to get on that truck to get to the destination. So please show your gratitude to those truck drivers that are out there and sell the plan correctly, or you will cause them to lose their entire livelihood. Back to you, Mr. Dunbar.
All right, fantastic. Well, we appreciate you guys all again. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for being patient with us and being, I know this is not a word, retentious, and staying with us the whole time. For all the educators, I know that's not a word. I was just being funny. But I appreciate you guys staying with us, and we look forward to hearing from you guys next week. And the video will be edited and up for you guys tomorrow. Now, you can look at the unedited version on YouTube right now, but when I put the timestamps and stuff on there, it won't be ready until tomorrow. But it is up there live now, so you can go to the YouTube channel now and look at anything you may have missed. So you guys have a wonderful night. We appreciate you all. And don't tell Mr. Self I held y'all late like this, because I don't want to get in trouble. That's my upline. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.